Guys, Marvel Fan 45 here, and today we'll be continuing my top 10 of each decade series. Last time we did a top 30 of the 2010s, I don't remember exactly. And now we're just gonna go on to a top 10 of the 2000s. A few honorable mentions that barely missed out: Zodiac, Before Sunset, Spider-Man 3, and Spider-Man, and The Devil's Rejects. That also barely missed out. So, starting off at number 10, House of a Thousand Corpses, directed by Rob Zombie. So, Rob Zombie is not for everyone. He's strange, I'll just say that. He's vulgar, very, very vulgar with what he does. His language in his movies is... Most mainstream directors can't say some of the stuff he says in his movies. His violence is on... He's vulgar on every front. Like, violence, cursing, everything. And it's amazing. This was his debut... Or was it The Haunted... I don't think it was The Haunted World of El Superbeasto. Yeah, this was his debut film. Sorry, I got confused for a minute. And I love it. It's so trashy, but so good. Captain Spaulding is one of my favorite characters in anything. The opening scene alone is glorious, where these two guys come in and rob Captain Spaulding's shop, and you think he's the one who's in trouble. And then he says one of my favorite lines in anything. Well, it's technically 3 lines. I'm not going to spoil it for those who haven't seen it. But then what happens to the robbers is just pure brutality. But yeah, and then Dwight Schrute is in this. Rainn Wilson is in this, surprisingly. He isn't in it for long because of his fate. I won't spoil it. And I used to not like the ending, but now oh my gosh, I love that ending. It takes what was a conventional horror movie to, like, I don't even know. Like, it takes it to literal insanity. Like, there are theories about what it actually means, but yeah. Expect to see one other Rob Zombie film way higher up. But yeah. Number 9 on the trend of horror films, Black Christmas, the remake. So, well, not the remake in the 2010s, the remake in the 2000s. So, I know this is a hot take, but I love this. It's like, there's something about this film that it takes the original and, like, inverts it. This is going to be an odd comparison, but the Suspiria remake, where, like, what does Guadagnino do? He, like, so where the original Suspiria has all this color, in Guadagnino's version there's, like, no color, it's all drained. The story is much more serious. But that's sort of what they do for the Black Christmas remake, but it's the opposite, where everything is balls to the wall, insane. The gore is on another level. You see all the kills. There are some specific kills that are, like, brutal. And this film is known for one main thing, flesh cookies. I'm not going to spoil exactly what that is, but yeah, this film is actually pretty high on my personal favorites. Oh, and Zodiac is also an honorable mention, forgot to mention that. Oh, and The Chronicles of Riddick and Punch Drunk Love. Sorry, I'm staring at my CDs and and The Departed, that's also an honorable mention. Sorry, I'm staring at my CDs and I just saw a bunch of honorable mentions at once. But, yeah. Black Christmas is amazing, and Dawn from Buffy the Vampire Slayer is in it. Michelle Trachtenberg is in it, who was in Mysterious Skin 2 years previously. Her career was actually really good after Buffy the Vampire Slayer, but she's great here, and that final scene is just like... that final kill is one of still remains to be one of my favorite just kills in any movie, period. Getting impaled by a Christmas tree is, oh my gosh. But yeah, Black Christmas, I could gush about this film forever. As much as I adore the original, and I love the original, like, the original is in my favorite movies ever, like, pretty high too. But I prefer the remake. That's a pretty hot take again. But number 8, Denzel Washington and Tony Scott's Man on Fire. So there's another Tony Scott Denzel Washington film that is slightly higher up, but this film is, oh boy. So if you haven't seen it, it takes a generic plot and just does something else. It becomes something else. The film itself is a living creature, if that makes sense. But that's with all of Tony Scott's work, because Tony Scott was a genius, may he rest in peace. But it's hard to describe this film. So the first hour is this beautiful, beautiful sort of build-up where he's growing a bond with the kid, and then the kid gets kidnapped, and the film switches gears to, like, I can't spoil it, but as soon as Denzel Washington picks up a shotgun, the entire movie just takes a turn. And this, in my opinion, has some of the greatest movie editing, period. Like, period. It's something else. Like, the entire opening scene where it's showing a kidnapping, it's crazy. And then the swim meet is beautiful. But yeah, Man on Fire, a masterpiece. I'm not going to gush for too much longer. Number 7, My Blueberry Nights. So there are a lot of hot takes on this list, if you couldn't tell, but this is actually my second favorite Wong Kar-wai movie. Third being In the Mood for Love. They're close, but I slightly prefer My Blueberry Nights. This film is strange, to say the least, but it's an odd journey for one character where they just sort of change the way they view things and sort of just see the world more. Wong's visuals are at their peak, like they're top notch, they're amazing. The way he films the desert especially is like something else. All the actors in here are amazing. Excuse me. Natalie Portman is great for her little bit of the film. Let me pull out my DVD so I remember all the actors' names. Norah Jones and Jude Law are great. David Strahan is amazing as well. But yeah, My Blueberry Nights, it's a masterpiece. I can't quite explain why I love this movie. Sorry for the burp earlier. But, put simply, I do. That's all that needs to be said. Number 6, on a complete different note, Jackass number 2. This film is so much fun. I've already seen it 3 times, and I just watched it a month ago. And I love it. I love Jackass, and I love Jackass 3, but Jackass 2 is by far the peak of the franchise. Johnny Knoxville fighting a bull. Like, that's all that needs to be said. Johnny Knoxville fights a bull. Spike Jonze has a strange role. I'm not going to spoil it. And the final joke is so odd and strange. And then there's also weird things, like side stuff that's not even big parts of the plot, like bicentennial BMXing, or the bit where they have the bike and they try and ride it through a tiny loop and you just see all their fails, or the bit where they have the bike with a rocket attached to it. It's extremely dumb, but it's a movie I smile all the way through. It's like second only to Stop Making Sense for the most joyous film I've ever seen. Like, and it's just so dumb. That's all I can say. And that bit at the hotel where they have the fan letter, and I really don't want to spoil the joke, but every time I watch that, I like ball of laughter for the full entire bit of that joke. Like, that joke is hilarious. But yeah, number 6, Jackass number 2. Number 5, here's a pretty... This may make some people angry, but I'm okay with it because I love it. So, number 5 is Attack of the Clones. Star Wars Attack of the Clones. I love the prequels. I know a lot of people don't, but I love the prequels. This film is just like, it's calming to me. Like, I can turn it on at any point and just love it. It's got Boba Fett, Jango Fett, well, Jango Fett, not Boba Fett. Build up to Boba Fett. But Mace Windu gets more of a role, and I actually enjoy Anakin and Padme's romance. I love that bit. Like, that's my favorite part of the film. But yeah, Attack of the Clones, Lucas's direction is also amazing. But yeah, Attack of the Clones, I love it. And not the only prequel on here. Number 4 is a tie between two films because I can't pick one. And they're two completely different films, but yes. Wong Kar-wai's 2046 and Sam Raimi's Spider-Man 2. They're both very close to being in the top 3, but one film beats them out. But I'll start with Spider-Man 2. Spider-Man 2 is my childhood, along with Spider-Man 3 and 1. But 2 I've seen more times than literally any other movie ever. And I can quote lines by heart. I love it. I mean, there isn't a bad bit in the film. The villain is great. Alfred Molina is great. Tobey Maguire, the best Spider-Man, is great. I mean, there are so many good bits in this film. Like, it's truly something else. And in my opinion, the only film that's come close to it in the time we've been here, well, in the time since film has expanded out, is Batman v Superman or the Snyder Cut. And those are some pretty hot takes again, but yeah. Spider-Man 2, a masterpiece. I don't even know what to say. Like, it's a masterpiece. Number 4, well, no, it's the same numbers. They're tied. 2046. This film brought me to tears throughout the entire runtime. I've seen it, again, almost as many times as Spider-Man 2. It's Wong's most depressing film. It's visually stunning. And it just hits harder than any other film I've ever seen and just clicks with my emotions more than almost every other film I've seen. I've related to it. It helped me out of a really dark time I was in. And yeah, 2046. That's all I have to say. I've gushed about it on other videos, so yeah. Number 3, a film I haven't talked about. Tony Scott's and Denzel Washington's Deja Vu. So, Tony Scott has the ability to take a script that's generic and mix in this crazy editing, have this beautiful empathy for his characters, and then combined with Denzel Washington, his camera work, the camera work is beautiful, Denzel's acting is amazing, even Paula Patton is amazing for her bit of the film. It's an amazing film, and that ending hits me every single time I see it. But yeah, Deja Vu. It's a masterpiece. Like, I can't say anything else about it. Like, I've seen it. I literally have the DVD sitting right here, waiting to be rewatched again. But it's one of the most emotional films I've ever seen. But yeah. And again, it's cliched. Like, it's a miracle it turned out as good as it was. But yeah. Now, number 2 and 1. These are basically interchangeable, but for now, this is number 2. This is so hard to put a number 2. Honestly, I'm debating switching the spots. I'm gonna switch the spots. Number 2 is Michael Mann's Miami Vice. Holy crap. So, this film blew me. It not only knocked my socks off, it exploded them off, and then rode off on a speedboat with them. So, I don't know what to say. Like, This film is an experience like no other. It should be a dated 2000s cop thriller, but it's not. It's. Oh, I can't even say anything about it. Like, it's that good. It's infinitely rewatchable. It has the best atmosphere I've seen in any film ever, besides number one. The acting is amazing by Colin Farrell, and the story is so engrossing, and you just notice more as you watch it. And it has, hands down, in my opinion, this is not even a contest, the best digital cinematography in any film, period. There is no digital film that will ever look as good as Miami Vice. Like, there will never be a film that looks like Miami Vice. Miami Vice is a one-of-a-kind, just masterpiece. And not only that, it spoke to me emotionally. I related to it way more than I would like to admit. Same thing with Deja Vu. But Miami Vice is just... oh... it's something else. Like, it's a gift from the cinema gods. Like, it's a miracle that this film exists. But yeah, Miami Vice, I could watch it right now without issue and just still love it. And it never gets old. Now that I'm done gushing about Miami Vice, which is so close to being number one. Number one, my favorite film and my favorite film of the 2000s at this moment. Halloween 2, directed by Rob Zombie. So people hate the Rob Zombie Halloween films, but I really enjoy them. But Halloween 2 is one of the few films that has legitimately, like, scared me. Like, few films ever scare me, but this film, like, shook me on a whole nother level. Like, I had to, like, take an 2-hour long walk afterwards just to keep control of myself and, like, put myself back together after watching the insanity that is Halloween 2. Again, the digital cinematography is like nothing else you'll ever see. It's so beautifully framed, and the kills are brutal. The needle drops are on point. The acting is amazing. The story is amazing. The ending is unforgettable. The use of Love Hurts is probably the best use of Love Hurts in any movie, period. And there's just something about it. It's a ferocious film. Like, when Michael Myers kills, you feel it. Like, the bit where he just kills the guy going to throw the garbage away, and then kills the two people in the strip club. Those kills are just brutal, but that's part of the reason why it's my favorite movie. And Zombie's dialogue is on point. I related to Laurie's character a lot more than I'd like to admit too. And I could just gush about this film. But I'm going to end it off here so I don't talk way too much. But Halloween 2, my favorite film of the 2000s and my favorite movie. Now, Zodiac. I'm going to talk about a few honorable mentions again. Zodiac was very close to making it on the list. Because Zodiac is my favorite Fincher besides Seven and The Social Network. I don't know if I'd call that my favorite. Zodiac's my favorite. But Zodiac is another great digital film. If you can't tell, I live for digital cinema. Digital cinema is completely my thing. Like, some of the digital stuff we get is like a miracle, like Miami Vice and Halloween 2 and Deja Vu and Man on Fire, and the list goes on. But yeah, Zodiac, it's a classic thriller. Like, it's not a classic, but it's a great thriller. Like, I don't know what else to add. Punch Drunk Love, it came close to being on here. There Will Be Blood, it's great, just doesn't make the list. Fast and Furious, Too Fast, Too Furious, and the Fast and Furious Tokyo Drift all don't make the list, but I love them all. Am I missing anything else from the 2000s? Sorry, I'm just taking a minute to make sure I don't miss anything that I... Oh, Hot Fuzz! Hot Fuzz is super fun, but just barely makes the list. Doesn't make the list, sorry. And... Oh! Oh my gosh. Okay, wait. So... I know this video's gone on a while, but I'm gonna add this to the list. I'm not gonna specify which placement. This won't remove any films from the list. This list will stay the same. But Crank High Voltage. When I was talking about how digital cinema is a gift from the cinema gods, Crank High Voltage is the best proof of it. It is the probably most maximalist, insane film I've ever seen. Jason Statham has sex with someone on a horse while the villain claps. And that's after he electrocutes his balls and then runs, I don't even know, like a mile. And that's also right after he literally gets up after having heart surgery and beats up a bunch of people. Crank High Voltage is a masterpiece. Crank High Voltage is literally like nothing else you'll ever see. But yeah, I'll end the video here so I don't talk too much. But Crank High Voltage, very close to being number one. But yeah, Halloween 2 will always be number one. If you haven't seen it, highly recommend it. And yeah, hope you enjoyed the video. Next up is top 10 of the 90s. That's gonna be a fun one. I already know my number one without like a doubt, but actually no, my number one could be two things, but that's gonna be a hard decision to make. I have to watch some other 90s films before making the video. Sorry, I'm getting my words all jumbled. But yeah, that's the end of the video. And it feels so good to make a video, so I'm probably gonna make another video after this just to keep the video high I'm on right now going. So yeah, stay safe, stay quarantined, and have a good day.